event. I'm Jasmine McNeil. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine McNeil, and I am with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. Thank you guys so much for being here at the National African American Read-In. I'm here with a couple of guests. Can you guys introduce yourself?
Go ahead, Dr. Lewis.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Chance Lewis. I'm a professor at UNC Charlotte, and I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Hi, and I'm Dr. Tia Glass. I'm also a part of the Urban Ed Collaborative, and we're just looking forward to having a great event tonight.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lewis and Dr. Glass. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in and for being here. Dr. Glass is going to give you guys a brief overview of the National African American Read-In so that you guys can be familiar with why you're here today and what we're celebrating.
Thanks so much, Jasmine. So the National African American Read-In is a groundbreaking effort to encourage communities to read together, centering African American books and authors. It was established in 1990 by the Black Caucus of the National Council of Teachers of English to make literacy a significant part of Black History Month. This initiative has reached more than 6 million participants around the world. During the month of February, schools, churches, libraries, bookstores, universities, and community and professional organizations and interested citizens are urged to make literacy a significant part of Black History Month. So we've decided that we're going to host the National African American Read-In. And for us, it is bringing local authors to spend some time with you and read the books that they have written.
Yes, thank you so much. So we are going to go ahead and just jump right into it. Quick reminder to everyone that has registered. After the event, everyone will receive information on the authors as well as additional resources about how to get involved in the National African American Read-In in the future, history on it, and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and move into it. And here today, we have two students from Westerly Hills Academy and Communities and Schools, Charlotte. So our first student that we have is Madison Simmons. She is in 4th grade, and she is going to read a book to you guys that she picked out that features an African-American character. So you guys give it up for Madison. Madison, tell us what book you're reading.
I'm going to be reading I Am Enough by Grace Byers. Like the sun, I'm here to shine. Like the voice, I'm here to sing. Like the bird, I'm here to fly and soar high over everything. Like the trees, I'm here to grow. Like the mountains, here to stand. Like time, I'm here to be and be everything I can. Like the champ, I'm here to fight. Like the heart, I'm here to love. Like a ladder to climb, and like the air to rise above. Like the wind, I'm here to push. Like the rope, I'm here to pull. Like the rain, I'm here to pour and drip and fall until I'm full. Like the moon, I'm here to dream. Like the student, I'm here to learn. Like the water, I'm here to swell. Like the fire, I'm here to burn. Like the winner, I'm here to win. If I don't, get back up again. I know that I may sometimes cry, but even then, I'm here to try. I'm not meant to be like you. You're not meant to be like me. Sometimes we'll get along, and sometimes we'll disagree. I know that we don't look the same. Our skin, our eyes, our hair, our frame. But that does not dictate our work. We both have places here on earth. And in the end, we are right here to live a life of love, not fear. To help each other when it's tough, to say together, I am enough.
Yeah, you did so good, Madison. How do you feel? Are you feeling good?
Good.
You've gotten a lot of love here in the comments. So you did a really, really good job. So I want to ask you real quick, what made you choose that particular book?
I chose this book because it inspired me to be myself, and I hope it inspires others too.
Awesome job. Thank you so much, everyone. Give us some virtual claps in the chats. Good job, Madison. All right, guys. So the next student that we are bringing up is Kamora Bowler. She is in 5th grade, and she is also a student at Westerly Hills Academy, and she is going to be reading a book as well. So everybody, welcome Kamora. Kamora, tell us what book you're going to be reading.
Today, the book I'm going to be reading is called The Night Is Yours. It's called The Night Is Yours by Abdul Razak Zakaria. Little one so calm and so happy, this is your night. When the world is its hottest on a summer evening like this one, you escape our apartment walls and grab a cool breeze in the courtyard. This is where you chill. We named you Amani because it means wishes, and nighttime is when wishes feel the most real. You are very real tonight, brilliant girl, as you laugh with other kids in the courtyard and double dutch to the rhythm of hip-hop coming from a nearby apartment's window. After every laugh and jump has you tired out, you all rest. I see you sitting on a porch looking up. Your friends point out different stars and constellations, Orion's Belt, the Big Dipper, and Aquarius, but you don't know about stars yet. What you know about is the moon. You know that the moon takes on a different shape every few days. Tonight it's a full moon, full and happy, because only a happy moon would shine so brightly. It is the moon that always wins a game of hide and seek, because it gleams off of your skin and points out different browns and tans of your friends who blend into the night when the light disappears. Suddenly, you and your friends get tired of sitting and deciding to play hide and seek as if the moon told you to. You and money are it, so you squeeze your eyes tight and count to 10. I get a glimpse of your friends running toward the trees and bushes. You all giggle the quietest of giggles, but I can still hear those giggles all the way up here. One by one, your friends find porch staircases to hide behind, bushes to crouch between, and piles of leaves that were just raked up this morning. The night is an extinction of your skin, all of you children blending in when you want it to and popping out when you want it to. Because the darkness of the night is yours like the darkness of your skin. You can hear your hiding friends when you finish counting. You find a few kids right away. One girl cannot stop laughing behind a tree, so you tickle her back. Another boy wrestles between two bushes, making the night a little louder, so you find him too. Every few minutes, you find the gigglers and the fidgeters and everyone in between. But wait, you and I both remember counting one more person who was playing outside tonight. Where could she be? You ran back and forth, up and down, and left to right, but she is just gone. I can tell that you are getting a little upset, my daughter. I send you silent strength and see that you are more determined than ever. You know some things aren't easy. You are patient and you think. I can tell that you're running through every possible idea. You are as silent as the night, thinking about the dark, thinking about, wait, the moon. The moon is the best hide-and-seek player you know. The moon is always it. You follow the moon's light, and now you see that wonderful bundle of brown crows that catch in a pile of leaves. Well, Miss Amani, it seems that you and the moon just won the game. Go ahead, dance together in celebration. Show everyone else how to embrace the night like you. Teach them how to be a night-owning girl like you. But before your friends can join your dance, they hear a chorus of adults and big siblings yelling out the windows to call them inside. I won't call for you just yet, so you can sit by yourself for a while. This is your night, my Amani. The dark skies are still full of your laughter and joy, even though they get quieter as your friends go inside one by one. This last bit of silence and this last breeze touching your face, they are yours. They are your reward for being patient and thoughtful. When the game seems not to go your way, they bring you peace the same way you bring me peace. The night is thanking you for filling it with more brightness than the moon. And I am thanking you, Amani, for my wish, for filling me with more love than I could have imagined.
Thank you so much, Kimora. You did an awesome job. If everyone, can you guys give virtual hand claps to Kimora, please? Thank you so much to both of these scholars from Westerly Hills Academy. Miss Jasmine Harris is actually the one who recommended them. So I just want to say thank you. Shout out to her and shout out to these amazing scholars. Once again, can everybody give some virtual hand claps to the girls that just read? And thank you guys so much. Kimora, you got a lot of shout outs in the chat. All right. So now we are going to transition into our author. So back here is Dr. Tia Glass from UNCC, and she is going to introduce our first author.
First, I just have to say, Madison and Kimora, y'all did an awesome job. I was just sitting up on my computer, just listening to them read. I could imagine the pictures. You all did a fabulous job. Job well done, ladies. So we're going to transition a bit and now explore and listen to some of our local authors that we have here in Charlotte. And so I'm going to introduce both of our authors who will be reading, and then we'll transition into our last author and do some Q&A. So Dr. Janica Bowman Lewis is an associate professor of English and the director of the Women and Gender Studies program, as well as the interim director of the Center for the Study of the New South at UNC Charlotte. She is the author of Freedom Narratives of African American Women and 3 children's books, Brown All Over, co-author of Dr. King is Tired Too, and tonight she's going to read Bold Nia Marie Passes the Test. She is a co-creator of a joint family Charlotte-based educational service company named Backpack Plus Family Resources and the founding director of the Vanilla Bowman Foundation for Educational Impact based in Georgia and in the Carolinas. Second author we have is Charlotte Hatch, and she is nationally recognized and a locally impactful wife, mom, author, and business change agent with a heart for service and a mind for results, which she has brought to her clients for over 14 years. Passionate about changing the narrative of young Black boys in America, she founded and assumed the role of Chief Mom Officer of the Me3 Project, which aims to change the narrative of young Black boys in America through positive images, expressive stories, and deliberate advocacy. Through the Me3 Project, she has produced 4 projects. 2 children's books. Tonight she's going to read Black Boy Joy, and she has Black Boy Joy Christmas Countdown, which is my boy's favorite book, even after Christmas. She has some flashcards, A to Z, Be Like Me, and an assortment of puzzles. You can get to know more about Charlotta Hatch by following her at Raising Black Boy Joy and the Me3 Project. So without further ado, let's start with Janica Bowman-Lewis as our first reader, and she is going to read Bold Nia Marie Passes the Test. Take it away, Dr. Lewis.
The tough part was picking which book to read, so I have to hold up Brown all over real quickly, which I wrote based on my son, but I wanted to read my second book, Bold Nia Marie Passes the Test, tonight. And you see on the cover, we have a young girl who is an athlete. And I also want to say that the students this evening did a wonderful job. So this is Bold Nia Marie Passes the Test, and it's dedicated to all the bold girls and boys in the world, and especially Delaney Nia and her big brother, Justice Daniel, who are my 2. And also thank you to the bold teachers and parents for support and supporting your young scholars. Nia Marie was bold as could be, much bolder than the rest, but try as she might, it gave her a fright when she had to take a test. Nia Marie was brave as could be. In sports, she had no fear, but when asked to recall the size of the ball, her thinking wasn't always clear. She cried and she bawled when her teachers would call her to come see her grades, because she knew deep down in mistakes that she had made. She always passed at the back of the class, mostly because she guessed, but her teachers all said, "You won't move ahead if you don't pass the big test." "Well, Nia Marie, you're as smart as could be," her parents and teachers said. "You just have to believe and catch the thoughts inside your head." Well, Nia Marie had another plan every time she learned something new. So she wouldn't forget, she wrote those facts on the side of her running shoe. "I'll twist and I'll turn, so I won't have to learn or take my biggest guess. And that's how I'll pass to the front of the class when we take that big test." The test day came near, and her mother said, "Dear, I scrubbed that filthy shoe. There was writing in dirt, and with your new skirt, it simply wouldn't do." Nia Marie cried because she had tried to make sure she could get by. So she sat down and wrote her teacher a note that her belly ached from pie. "Well, Nia Marie, I'm as sad as can be, but you have to take this test. So go home and think, have water to drink, and make sure you get some rest." Her plan had failed. Her facts were gone. She just had one more thing to do. Try to remember just what she had written on the side of that lucky shoe. Nia Marie sat and tried not to fret. Pages and pages she filled. It seemed she had learned all her facts and terms. She just had to sit still. She turned in her test. She was feeling her best. She danced a happy dance. So practice was the answer. The shoes weren't her big chance. The message here, if it wasn't clear, is to study like Nia Marie. Don't count on a shoe to give you a clue. Be the best student you can be. Nia Marie learned that when it was her turn on the field or at her desk, that she could catch the answers when she did her very best. And there's some questions at the end of the book, but just want you all to remember that when you put time and effort into studying, You can do your very best, and your parents and your teachers are there to support you. So thank you for letting me read tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Lewis, so much. I think that's a reminder for all of us, right? That sometimes we just need to sit still and remind ourselves that we can do our best if we just put our minds to it and focus on what the task is that needs to be done. Thank you so much, Dr. Lewis. Next up, we have Miss Charlotta Hatch, and she will be reading one of my boys' favorite books, Black Boy Joy. So, Charlotte, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Glass, and thank you, Dr. Lewis, for sharing your stories with us. And also a huge shout out to Madison and Kimora. You are the reason why we do this. So I am Miss Charlita, and I am the author of Black Boy Joy. And I think it's something really cool to share with everybody that the illustrator is Savon Wallace. That means she drew the pictures. And a really fun fact about Savon is that she was in the 11th grade when she illustrated this book. And so that means that no matter how old you are, you can do anything you put your mind to. So we will get started with Black Boy Joy. There's nothing I would rather do than tell the world how much I love you. Black Boy Joy, you will always be a son who is special to me. Oh, my sweet and precious boy, you fill my heart with so much joy. Black Boy Joy, you will always be a son who is special to me. As you climb out of your bed, let mama's words ring through your head. Black Boy Joy, you will always be a son who is special to me. And when you go to school and play, remember how we start each day. Black Boy Joy, you will always be a son who is special to me. Whether you choose to play a sport or bake a cake, I will always support the path you take. Black Boy Joy, you will always be a son who is special to me. And if there are times when you feel blue, I hope you remember that I love you. Black Boy Joy, you will always be a son who is special to me. As you grow up big and strong, you will always have a place that you belong. Black Boy Joy, you will always be a son who is special to me. After it's all said and done, just remember that you are my son. Black Boy Joy, you will always be a son who is special to me. Thank you so much for allowing me to spread Black Boy Joy to all of you.
Thank you so much. I really love that book. We have that at our library now. So thank you so much. When I saw that, I was really, really excited. I have a little black boy, so I love that book. Thank you so much for that. And we are going to gear up. You're going to stick around for Q&A, right? And we're going to go ahead and gear up for our last author. His name is Richie Porter. So he was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. He grew up singing on the church choir, which is where he developed his love for music. His parents created and ran the record label Let's Ride Records, which exposed Richie to creative and the business side of the music industry. With over a decade of performance experience, Richie has multiple talents beyond music. He is a songwriter, influencer, entertainer, author, but before those things, he's simply a big brother. Here today to read his first children's book, I want you guys to welcome Richie Porter.
Hi, what's up, Westerly Hills? Well, a lot of you don't know this, but this moment is very special to me because my first year of school, pre-K, I actually went to Westerly Hills myself, so this is kind of a big moment for me. But without further ado, guys, I'm finna get into my book. It's called Big Brother, Big Shoes. This is a children's book written by me. So let's get into it. Ever since I could remember, let me see how I can do this. So I want y'all to see. You know what? I'm gonna show y'all the picture. Okay, look. Ever since I could remember, my baby brother Cam has been a little different. Not your average standoffish different, but the I will not stand down to anything different, which always makes it so easy being Cam's older brother. This usually consists of me defending his actions even when I know he's wrong, or trying to stop him from doing something before he gets a chance. I also have another brother, Kanan. That is in the middle of Kanan and I. He is a little difficult to be the older brother as well, because he's mean, grumpy, as I like to say. Usually, we just talk to him first because we never know what mood Kanan may be in. He even wakes up in a bad mood sometimes. The only time he seems to be in a good mood is when he's on the phone with his phone sparkle. Oh, here we go, right here. As for me, I am Cassius, the oldest and the easiest child. Well, at least I like to think so. My mom says that isn't always the case, but it has to be. Why else would God make me the oldest? One day, I am going to be a superstar. Ever since I was a baby, I've dreamed of being on the stage and becoming the world's best entertainer. Well, I'm not quite the oldest. I have two older sisters, Leia and Lacey, but they are out of the house and in college, so that makes me the oldest now. That is until they come home for summer and take my room from me. I make them think that it bothers me, but actually, I'm glad when they come home. Leia is cool like me, and Lacey is a girl version of Kanan. So you can imagine how that would be. Back to the difficult brothers of mine. So Cam has the craziest excuse every time he does something crazy. No matter what he does, what he'll say. For some strange reason, it always works on my parents. Like the other day, we were at a nice restaurant with a piano, and while we were sitting down eating, Cam asked to go to the bathroom. All of a sudden, we hear this loud banging coming from the back, and then Cam's voice singing over the microphone, Stevie Wonder's version of Happy Birthday. I wanted to slide down in my chair and hide under the table. My mama ran over there to get him, and as she came back to the table, he was laughing hysterically. My mom asked, "Why did you do that?" And he said his favorite line, "But I'm a free spirit. I can't help it." All my parents did was shake their head and continue eating. Cam went back to eating and laughing and asked Kanan if he saw that. Of course, Kanan didn't respond. He just rolled his eyes at Kanan and continued to eat as if the whole restaurant was pointing and laughing at us. Even on the school bus, Cam gets on the school bus first because he is the youngest, and every day something different with Cam. Take the other day for instance. Cam decided to take off his belt and hit the other kids as they were walking past him to get to their seat. This is nothing new. Every day Cam does something different, and the bus driver just sits there and acts like she doesn't see a thing. Cam always says that he is the bus driver's favorite. And I'm starting to think that may be true. Of course, nobody does anything to Cam because of most kids are scared of Kanan. In my household, we have heard 1,000 times, "Don't let anyone hit your brother," or "You have to stick together." So we stick up for him if anyone gets mad at him. Whenever I get on the bus, I just grab Kanan by the hand and make him sit with me. But that's just because on the inside, I don't want him to bother anyone else. "You know that's my chair." That's the sound I heard breaking out of my thoughts as Kanan was screaming. I jumped so high in the air that I almost came out my seat. I explained to Kanan, as I do every day when we have the same argument, that we do not have assigned seats and I could sit anywhere. That is until Mom came in the room. Mama comes over and smiles and says, "Cassius, why would you sit in your brother's seat? Unbelievable. How could everyone in this side? Unbelievable. How could everyone just take his side? All I was trying to do was do my homework. Why is it that everyone in this house gets away with everything except for me? Being a big brother is harder than it looks. Everyone always looks at us while we're out and smiles, but no one really knows the responsibilities that comes along with these two. I am almost positive I never drove Leia or Lacey this crazy when I was young. Or did I? At the dinner, I didn't speak a word. All I wanted was to eat and go to my room. I didn't want to be around any free spirits, or the grumpy old kid, or the easygoing parents. I was starting to think that maybe I was adopted because I'm the only one that notices that something wasn't normal in this house. My dad tried to talk to me while we were doing the dishes. I told him I had a headache and I was ready for bed. Later that night, Mama came in to tell me goodnight. She decided to tell me a story. She lay beside me and held me close in her arms and told me that how God gives the most important, sometimes difficult jobs to the oldest because he knows that he can trust them to be patient, loving, protecting, and a leader to those that may need a little extra help. I never thought about it that way. To me, it feels like a punishment instead of a privilege. She explained to me that God trusted me so much to help my parents take care of my little brothers that the way they take care of me, I started to feel a little guilty for being so mad at them. And that made me want to take care of them. My mama goes on to tell me how my two older sisters had to be the same for me when I was younger, and about all of the little crazy things I used to do. We both laughed, and I understood more about the big shoes I had to fill as the big brother, and suddenly I felt honored. I felt strength coming from the inside of me that I've never felt. I closed my eyes and went to sleep with a big smile on my face. I don't know who's at the door, but I'm going to stop right here. It's called Big Brother Big Shoes. Oh, well, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. I got some extra time that we're rolling with. Okay, let's go. As I was sleeping in the middle of the night, Kanan came running in my room like he had seen a ghost. I asked, what was wrong? I didn't see the mean or grumpy brother I always seen. I saw my little brother scared or from a bad dream. And as his big brother, I wanted to help. I explained to him that it was only a bad dream and that he didn't have to be scared and that he could sleep with me if he wanted to, if that would make him feel safer. He actually said, thank you, smiled, and laid down. About 2 minutes later, Cam came running in the room, full speed. I sat up and asked if he had a bad dream too. Cam replied, nope. I flushed my toy down the toilet and water's everywhere in the bathroom. I didn't want to be nowhere around when Daddy found out. Kanan and I laughed. We got out the bed with some wet towels and dried up the bathroom floor. Oh, sorry. I forgot to show you that picture. This is Cam getting in the bed with us, trying to run from the toilet. From the toy he flushed in the toilet. Cam was sleeping like a baby. When Kanan and I went back in the room from cleaning up the mess, Kanan looked at me and shook his head and smiled as the three of us lied in the bed, trying to get a few more hours of sleep before school in the morning. I thought to myself and said, thank you, God, for choosing me. I won't let you down. I'll be the best big brother that I can be. You see, he got his little toy back. They got in the bathroom. The next morning, Cam and I ran through the kitchen, snatching everybody's lunchbox off the counter. Kanan sat there looking like smoke was about to come off the top of his head, furious. Looking at Mama, we both burst into laughter. I looked at Kanan and said, don't worry, little bro. I got this. With the biggest smile on my face, I ran after Cam to go get our lunches. Shortly after, we all jumped in a car with Daddy. Sorry, let me go back. Shortly after we all jumped into the car with Daddy, we had missed the school bus, so he was driving us to school. We are singing along with the radio as loud as we can. Even Grumpy, Kanan. Car concerts was one of my favorite things to do, especially since I was a superstar, since I wanted to be a superstar. Through all of the fun, I looked over and noticed Cam was sticking his tongue out at the people in the cars as they drove past him. Only my baby bro would do that. The three of us even ate lunch together at school. Guess what? Kanan wasn't mad. I think he even laughed a couple of times. Of course, Cam was being his usual self, but that is what quite makes us unique. As for me, I'm going to be the best big brother possible. I have big shoes to fill, and I am just a kid for the job. This is us in the car. Oh, my bad. It's vice versa. And this is us eating lunch together. So the book is over, guys. I appreciate you guys listening. It's called Big Brother Big Shoes. And if you guys would like to go get a copy of this, it is available at letsriderecords.com and amazon.com. And if you guys have any questions, I hear we have a Q&A later on. So let's get to it. Thank you, guys. And if it's anything that you want to do, make sure you stay focused. Because like I said, it's a big inspiration for me to just come back, considering the fact I used to go to Westerly Hills myself. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for reading the whole thing. I really appreciate that. Everybody give him some virtual hand claps. And thank you, guys. And now we're going to welcome everybody back onto the screen, including the students, all of the authors. And here we also have Miss Jasmine Harris with Communities and Schools at Westerly Hills. And these are her scholars, as well as all of the authors. Before we get into a Q&A with everyone, I just want y'all to give them some virtual hand claps for being here. Tonight. It was a big deal. We worked hard to make this happen. So thank you guys for tuning in. While we're gearing up for the Q&A, if you guys want to put any questions specific to the authors or to the students, but specifically for our authors in the chat, I can read a few of them out as well as the questions that we already have planned for the authors. So take the time now to put them in if you guys have any questions specifically to them. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move into the Q&A. Y'all ready? All right, cool. Okay, so I want to start off by, some of you guys have answered this through your books. Some of you guys have answered this through your introduction, or this was answered, but I kind of want to start off with asking each of you to tell us more about the book. Like, what is the message behind the book that you read tonight? And we'll start in the order that the authors came up. So we'll start with Dr. Lewis. We'll go on and move to Charlotta, and then we'll go to Richie. So Dr. Lewis, tell us more about this book, the book that you read to us tonight.
I used to work with women athletes, student athletes at Georgia Tech. And so I was always thinking about girls in sports, but also what's thought about, sometimes girls aren't as good in math or and other things we know aren't true. And so I wanted to write a book that instilled confidence in taking the test for everybody, but also specifically for girls and for Black girls, to let students know you can do anything you set your mind to, and not to be afraid of the test, and also not to go about it the wrong way, not to cheat, but just believe that you can really catch those thoughts when you sit still and you focus and you study. So that was the inspiration for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we're going to move to, I see Richie, you're on the screen. So can you answer? So tell us, obviously, we saw from, you are a big brother, but tell us more about the inspiration behind the book.
I have two little brothers, and not only do I have two little brothers, I have younger people under me that I want to influence. And it's so easy in today's society to go wrong or to go left. And it's just me basically trying my best, giving it my all to lead them on the right path. And I want to see everyone prosper. I want to see you win. I want to see you successful. So I want to try to lead you in the right direction as well. And that's just me telling my story, especially for my little brothers and anyone else who's under me that looks up to me. I just want to shine the best positive light I can on it.
Awesome. And y'all, he's the youngest author up here. So give it up to him. Good job. And you are doing a good job at that. Miss Charlita, can you tell us more about your book? Like that, this is another book, as you can see, everyone loves it. So this is another book that we are very familiar with. It resonates to a lot of people who have young Black sons. But can you tell us more about the inspiration behind it?
Absolutely. I was pregnant with my son in 2016 when Charlotte had an officer-involved shooting. And 2 people came up to me and told me that they were sorry that I was bringing a Black son into the world. And that planted a seed in me I didn't know. And several months later, I was nursing my son and was thinking about the books that we were reading to him and what kind of seeds I was sowing. And I realized that a lot of the books that featured Black boys seemed to either be sports related or Black history related, and not necessarily just everyday life, like Black boys having a big brother, like Little Richie's book, or learning how to go to the potty, or playing with the red ball, or like my book, a mother-son relationship and love story. And I did some research and found that less than 10% of children's books feature people of color. And of that, only 3% feature Black boys as the leading protagonist. And so thinking about that, how many of those books are about Michael Jordan or Martin Luther King? And I started to think, as we think about the narrative in society about what's happening as it relates to Black boys and girls in our country right now. And if we don't tell our everyday stories, then people won't look at us as humans when human things happen in our society. And so I believe children's books can help change that narrative by us infiltrating the media with positive images and everyday stories, showing that we are humans and just like everybody else. And when something happens to a kid in our country, their mama's hurt and their mamas care.
Thank you so much. That is amazing, and that is so important. This is my Black boy Joy right here. He keeps trying to get in the camera, but this is who I do it for. So I thank you so much for that book and for writing that, for the message behind it, and I thank all of you for the work that you're doing to create diversity in literature for our children in a positive light, aside from the stereotype that's already out there and always out there. So kudos to you guys. We're going to move on to the next question, and we'll kind of start. Charlita, I'm going to throw it back at you, and then we're going to kind of go backwards like how we did. So this question is, why do you think that diversity in literature, and I kind of think you just answered this, is specifically in children's books are important? If you wanted to add on anything else to what you just said, go for it.
I will, because, a lot of us are exposed to books when we are young children, and we start to develop concepts based off the images that we see as a child, even if we don't have the language to use it. I always like to tell people, if you see a children's book where girls are always cooking in the kitchen, people might infer that boys don't cook, not because that's what the story is saying, but that's because the images that we see. So if we see Black boys in a certain way or Black girls in a certain way, then that's the narrative that starts to shape. And research shows that as young as 4 and 5 years old, children are starting to develop racial concepts or identities with different people and different of their classmates based off the images that have been penetrated throughout birth, because we also know that 80% of the brain is developed by the time you're 3. And so with all of those things, just think about how powerful it would be if our literature really reflected the inclusive society that we really want for the next generation.
Absolutely. Dr. Glass, we were talking about that before, mirrors and windows. Absolutely. So that is spot on. I totally agree. I'm going to go back to, I don't see Dr. Lewis on here. Is she still here? I don't see her. We're going to take this to Richie first. So Richie, I'm going to repeat the question. Why do you think that diversity in literature, specifically children's books, are important?
Well, because in today's society, I feel like we need to show more of that. It's like it's so many things that's so controversial nowadays. And like when I was growing up, I didn't really see any kid book, no children's books like that, especially showing children of our color. And I just wanted to put that same image out there that I wasn't perhaps able to receive, but maybe I can give back to others, and I feel like it'll impact others in their day-to-day life, to let them know that it's okay to be comfortable in your own skin. It makes you look out there like what's different about you. So I just wanted to show everyone else out there, like especially the youth, that it's okay to be you, genuinely you. And we just need more diversity out there in the world itself, especially with everything we got going on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Dr. Lewis, can you round us up on that question? Why do you think diversity in literature, specifically children's books, are important?
Those are great answers. And I'll just add that just because there's not one story that tells about who we are, everybody, even tonight, we've all shared different stories. And so we need the most narratives and the most stories we can to just show the richness of who we are, not just to other people, but to each other. And just to remind ourselves that we are all wonderful and unique.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And for the audience that are tuning in, I do want to remind you guys, if you got any questions specifically to the authors up here, feel free to put them in and we'll cover your questions as well. We're going to move on to our next question. And Richie, we're going to actually start with you. So when is the first time that you saw yourself in a children's book? If you can remember, when is the first time, and do you remember what the book was?
I didn't. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I didn't. I never did. And like I said before, I feel like that kind of motivated me to make a children's book of my own. That kind of motivated me to want to put something out there so the other kids could see, oh, he looks like me, and like I said, just to let people know that it's okay to be comfortable in your own skin. So just to show them that there's more people out there like yourself, because along with what Charlita said, it's a lot of the children's book are majority non-African American. So I want to be able to put something out there. I want to add to that collection, add to that percentage, so that we can constantly grow and elevate. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us to elevate and arise.
Thank you for that. Someone just asked, yes, that can you guys share to Facebook? This is live on Facebook, on the Imagine High Facebook page for those that aren't aware. Share away. And we're going to move this to Dr. Lewis. Same question. Do you remember the first time you saw yourself in a children's book? And if so, what was the book and when was that?
When I was young, my parents would keep books around that looked like me, and I was born in the 80s. So there were a lot more books circulating than when they were little even. But my first grade teacher, I won a poetry contest, and she gave me the book, Spin a Soft Black Song by Nikki Giovanni. And it was, poetry with representations of African-American children. And I loved that book. I still have my same copy from first grade. And so it really meant a lot that the teacher, saw me and gave me something that looks like me. And even as a professor now, I teach Nikki Giovanni's poetry, and she's still one of my favorite poets. But that was the first one I remember belonging to me. I had siblings. I didn't have to share it with my book. She gave to me. So that was wonderful too.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And Dr. Charlita, can you share with us your children's book experience from when you were younger?
So similar to Richie, I don't remember a lot, but there are two that stick out. One is called Striped Ice Cream. And I remember that book because it was like one of the first chapter books that I read. And it was about a little girl whose mom could not afford to get her what she wanted for her birthday. And so here's the narrative. And so everybody was scrapping around to get her the Neapolitan ice cream, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry ice cream, which is what she wanted. And then the second book that I remember is Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, which was a book about racism and a family going through kind of the 70s in that time. And so those are the only two books I ever remember featuring a Black girl, through really before getting to Toni Morrison or Nikki Giovanni or Maya Angelou. But as far as a little girl reader, those are the first two books.
I love Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. My mom made me read that book, and I was upset at first, but it turned out to be a great book, that whole series from that author. So next question. We're going to start with Dr. Lewis this time. So growing up, and you may have answered this in your previous one, what was your favorite children's book that featured an African-American character? You can either talk about now, looking back, aside from your own book, what is your favorite book that features an African-American character, either growing up or now, looking back, as far as children's books go?
That is really hard. My 7-year-old daughter would say, I collect children's books for myself. Not even, I'll share with the kids, but I'll care for myself. But right now I'm reading about Black women in STEM and STEAM. And so Hidden Figures, there's one for adults, but there's one for young readers, and there's an illustrated one. Count on Catherine, about Katherine Johnson. And books about and by Mae Jemison are ones that are my favorites now.
Thank you. And Charlita, same question.
So I think I said it already, but I have a 3-year-old. He's almost 4. So I'll say the book that we are enjoying right now outside of Black Boy Joy is I Am So Brave. It is from like an empowerment series book. I think the author's name is like Stephen, last name K. And I love that story because it really talks about, at an age appropriate language, how you can get over being scared of like swimming or dogs or loud noises. And that's very much appropriate in our house right now. And so we read that book, but also because it's simple, my son can recite it. And so it excites me because I know he's starting to get that like early reading language.
Awesome. I feel like we relate. So, and my son is 10 or about to be 10, and yours is so young, but we're right there. I get it. Okay, so last one, Richie. So can you tell me, aside from yours, do you have a favorite children's book? Are you into children's books?
I didn't really. I used to go to daycare, so we were surrounded, and we used to have to go read 30 minutes every day when we was in daycare. So we had books, but not necessarily children's books. I would read more to like the Bangs and the Diary of Wimpy Kids and stuff like that. But as far as in children's books, one of them that I read, like that was my favorite children's book that I always read, was No David. And in that book, not necessarily the color of his skin, but just the fact that he was a boy. And I related to him, you know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of like life. You go through situations, or not situations, you may be in a situation and you may be told no, but you don't know at the moment. And then you later on realize, and you learn from your mistake not to do that, So I feel like No David was a good book for me, for a children's book when growing up. And I just related to it. I related to the whole book.
Thank you for sharing that. We have a question from the viewer. It says, how long did it take all of you to write your books? Who wants to start that one off? That's a good question.
I can go first. Very much a faith-based person, and very proud to say that I had that initial inkling for Black Boy Joy one night. The next night, I was connected with my illustrator, and the third night, I was connected with our publisher. And then within 90 days, we did concept to publishing, and I was able to gift that book to my son on his first birthday. And I say that because I think the message here is, if you're interested, you just need to write, and everything else can fall into play. Don't overthink it. Just put pen to paper.
Thank you. Dr. Lewis?
I have a similar story. I wrote the poem. If you'll notice that book was a poem. I wrote it in one sitting because I knew what I wanted to write about. And the illustrator, Cameron Wilson, who was one of my friends from 9th grade, and we're still friends now, I said, hey, I have this story. I'll send it to you. And he sent illustrations back fairly quickly. And then the publisher was local, Tia Capers with Hearthead Publishing. I met with her, and she help map everything out. And so that's the power of a village too, when you have your story, and they will help get that story told.
Absolutely. And Richie, how long did it take you on yours?
Well, it's a funny story because I actually wrote another book before. I wrote The Know Them and Go Harder, which is a motivational book. And after that, I felt that I could, why stop there? And I feel like I got a story. Everyone has a story to tell. So me, and like, especially in a moment with my little brothers, I had a story that I felt like should be shared, and I'm pretty sure many people can relate to it because many people have siblings, just like I have siblings who are younger than them, who may get on their nerves and who may not understand the importance of being a bigger role model, no matter if you're an older sister, older brother, even if you're not related to them, just being their mentor, just being their caretaker, setting them in the right direction. So me writing that book, it was so easy, probably at least 2 to 3 weeks. And it's a short book. It's Big Brother Big Shoes, and it's a children's story. So it was very easy for me because it was so relatable because it's talking about myself, you know. So I just wanted to expand my message, get my story out there because I know other people can relate to it as well.
Thank you. We have another question. This is actually for Madison and Kimora. Okay. So it says, what are some of your dreams and aspirations? Madison and Kimora, who wants to go first? Madison, go ahead, baby. Unmute yourself.
Some of my dreams and aspirations are to be successful in life and do a good job and singers and stuff and book writers. I just want to be successful in life.
Oh, thank you. Kimora?
Some of my dreams and aspirations are probably to go to college, graduate, get my degree, and probably be one of the best gymnasts or ballerina, or one of those two.
Oh, thank you, girls. All right, we have another question for Madison and Kimora. Y'all ready? Y'all didn't know y'all were going to be doing all these Q&As, did you? So what was your favorite part of the stories that you read? We'll start with you, Madison. What's the favorite part of the story that you read?
When it talked about I'm not meant to be like you and you're not meant to be like me. That was my favorite part of the book.
Kimora?
My favorite part of the book is when it says the moon shines and gleams of the different browns and tans of all of the kids playing in the courtyard.
Thank you, girls. All right, so these are for the authors, and anyone can answer this. It says, can you give us an estimation on cost to publish a children's book?
I can jump in. You can find a range depending on if you need illustrations. So I got illustrations separately, up to if you want all of the details published. And there's also publishing through Amazon, et cetera. So, I mean, you can, do something for like $400 or less, but don't let that be a barrier if you want to get it done. And you can reach out to me or anyone else, I'm sure, too, to find venues to get that supported.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. So for the authors, this was one of the questions that I wanted to make sure that we got in. Can each of you kind of tell us what projects are you currently working on? Like what's next? We know you guys have the books and several books that you guys have presented to us. I looked y'all up before this, so I was able to see some of the other things that you guys got going on. But for everyone that's tuning in, can you kind of give us a quick snapshot, if you will, of what's next for you guys? So I'm gonna start with Richie.
All right, well, I already presented the book Big Brother Big Shoes, but I'm working on a sequel to it. Talking about the middle brother, Kanan, and I'm just going to be telling the story from his perspective and how he feels about the situation. In the first book, Big Brother Big Shoes, I tell it from my perspective and how I feel about the situation. And basically, I'm just going to go in more detail about it and just telling it from Kanan's from his perspective and how from his point of view and how he feels about it.
Awesome. Thank you. And Charlita?
So it's a great question. I think 2020 has definitely caused us all to sit back and pause and reflect. And I would say I can't exactly articulate it fully right now because I'm still trying to figure it out. But I definitely want to help it be more parent empowerment as it relates to the village that's needed to get our Black boys successfully through school. And I'm excited to be on the stage, not only with Dr. Glass, who is a mentor, but Jasmine with community and schools, and hoping that there are some opportunities to help with parent empowerment, parent advocacy, and all of those things as we equip our Black boys to get through and thrive.
Thank you. And Dr. Lewis?
The book I published last year with my dad, which is actually my dad's story, Dr. King is Tired Too, about going to see Dr. King with my grandmother and also his sister, which is a true story in 1961. I'm working on telling more family stories and getting my family members to tell their stories. And so, if you have relatives that get on the Zoom, get on the phone, get their stories, because that's so important. And then I'm also writing about Black girls in literature. So Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, which someone mentioned, is one of the stories I'm writing about in my new book. And so just circulating more stories.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Dr. Glass, were you going to add something in?
I was going to say, now Charlita is selling herself short. She and I wrote a children's book that's under, I guess, contest review with Scholastic. So we are writing a series of books about a set of Black twins who are just experiencing day-to-day life. And when they experience racism or microaggressions or, the things that we experience, how they can handle it with the help of their parents.
Awesome. We can't wait till that comes out. Keep us posted on that. But we are going to actually wrap up with you guys. Once again, for everyone that is tuning in, if you registered on the library's website, you will receive an email with information on all of the authors, their social media, how to get in contact with them, their website, as well as resources of how to get involved with the National African American Read-In, which is the oldest event dedicated to diversity in children's literature. So I think it's really, really important that you guys be on the lookout for that. I did want to give the authors one last opportunity to say anything to add in as we wrap up. If you guys wanted to add anything in, this is your chance. So anyone?
Once again, I just want to say thank you guys for having me. I'm very blessed, very fortunate, and thankful for this opportunity. Especially just to do it with Westerly Hills. I've already mentioned it, but it's crazy just to come in full circle. But make sure you guys follow me on all social media at Lil Richie. That's LILRICHYE. And for you guys to go get my book, Big Brother Big Shoes. It's Big Brother Big Shoes on Amazon.com and on Let'sFireRecords.com. And if you guys are a little mature in the audience and you want to get into another book, I got a motivational book as well. It's called The Know Them and Go Harder. Also available on Amazon and Let'sFireRecords.com. So I appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys look forward to any new projects I got coming out. I already spoke about it. Just hope you remember it. And I appreciate you guys once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Lewis.
Just want to say, dream big, tell your story. Your story is important and matters, and people need to hear it. And thank you all again for having this. And it's a wonderful event. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Charlita.
Thank you all for the opportunity. Remember, joy is a form of resistance, and there's so much joy and pride in being Black, African American, or a person of color. And so don't ever let your light dim. Spread joy.
Thank you. Well, I want to take this time to thank all of the authors for joining, and to thank our Westerly Hills Communities and School Scholars, Komora and Madison. You guys did awesome. Thank you, Miss Jasmine Harris, for giving us these beautiful babies and for letting me work with your beautiful babies. So I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Check out www.cmlibrary.org to see everything else that we got going on for Black History Month and beyond through our Black Lives Matter programming. And thank you guys for tuning in, everybody out there that's tuning in on YouTube and Facebook. You guys are awesome. Thank you for participating with the authors. And I hope everyone has a great night.